J.D. Vance slammed CNN for questioning his military service while defending Tim Walz's stolen valor. They don't even pretend that they're not biased. They don't even pretend that. It's disgusting what they're doing. We all know, and especially veterans know what Tim Walz was doing about him lying about being in action, and they CNN. I watched another clip with CNN, and they had Montel Williams on there, and they were saying, well, the man had 24 years of service, and okay, we understand, we congratulate him on his 24 years of service, and he was like, well, just because he wanted to quit before he got deployed doesn't mean anything. Okay, that's not really the issue. I mean, yes, a lot of his soldiers that he left behind is upset about him leaving when he did. People do it all the time. That's correct, but that's not really the issue. The issue is him lying about him being the highest rank NCO, non-commissioned officer. That's what really the issue is. It's like an example would be, and I heard someone made this example. And it's a great example. Would be is you go to school to a master's program, and you drop out of school right before you graduate. But then you go apply for a job and you tell people that you got your master's degree, but you never graduated. That's the exact same thing like Tim Walz is doing. It's stolen valor, and you cannot argue that it isn't. And the mainstream media is pretending like we can't even ask why. Mainstream media is pretending that we can't call him out, and saying we can't call him out on these lies. If he'll lie about something like this, what else would this man lie about? Why would we want to make him our vice president? And that's what the main issue is. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to play some clips. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. Also, check me out on X, where I post news throughout the day as well. All right, so let's talk about this news now. This comes from Slay News's the great Frank Bergman, and he reports that Republican presidential nominee J.D. Vance has fired back at CNN after the network shamelessly questioned his military service while trying to defend Kamala Harris's radical Democrat running mate Tim Walz's stolen valor. On Thursday, CNN's Brianna Keilar, however you pronounce her name, said that Vance may be an, quote, imperfect messenger to knock Minnesota Governor Walz over the military record. Oh, really? Why is that? Why is that imperfect? He served his time. He was in Iraq. He never said that he got action though. Whereas Walz lied about being in the action. But the critique focused on how Vance served as a combat correspondent during the Iraq War. Kyler suggests this gave the false impression that Vance saw combat. And Vance never said that he saw combat. In fact, in his book, he said he's grateful that he didn't see combat. So where on the other hand, we have Walz, who lied about seeing combat. You can't, the mainstream media is so disgusting. But let me play this clip here.
I also think that J.D. Vance, as a messenger on this, may be an imperfect messenger, because we have, as you introduced him, as a combat correspondent, which was what his title was. But when you dig a little deeper into that, he was a public affairs specialist, someone who did not see combat, which certainly the title combat correspondent kind of gives you a different impression. So he may be the imperfect messenger on that.
No, you're the imperfect messenger on that, because you don't know what the heck you're talking about. He never alluded to seeing combat. In fact, like I mentioned before, in his book, he actually said that he didn't see combat and was thankful for it. I mean, she's disgusting. But quote, Brianna, this is disgusting, and you and your entire network should be ashamed of yourselves, Vance said on X. And I agree, it is disgusting. When I got the call to go to Iraq, I went. So he actually went to Iraq. Even though he didn't, he might not have seen combat, he was still in a hot zone. Quote, Tim Walz said he carried a gun in a war. Did he? No, it was a lie. And I totally agree with that. I mean, this woman is disgusting, just like J.D. Vance said. It's ridiculous. But he was responding to a clip posted by the Trump War Room, which told Kyler the difference is that, we already went on that. is that Vance never lied about his rank or his service, and when his unit deployed to Iraq, he didn't abandon them, and that's a fact. Walz spent more than 2 decades in the Army National Guard. The National Guard is a lot different than being a full-time Army person, or Army soldier. But I'm not taking anything from him. He still served 24 years, and he did go active duty a few times. So I'm not discrediting any of that. I got friends that are in the National Guard and stuff like that, and I know that the work that they do. So I'm not trying to discredit that. I'm not discrediting his 24 years of service. I'm talking about him lying about his rank, which is dishonorable. He had been deployed as part of Operation Enduring Freedom, and I have my Operation Enduring Freedom medal as well, even though I'd never seen any action. After the September 11 attacks, but not in a combat zone, according to the New York Times. CBS News reports that Walz retired in 2005, shortly before his artillery unit was deployed to Iraq. And when you're about to get deployed, you know ahead of time that you are about to get deployed because you have to go do training before you get deployed. So you know way in advance most of the time. Not all of the time. Most of the time you know in advance. And in his case, he knew way in advance that he was about to get deployed. And that's when he decided to go retire after 24 years instead of hitting that celebrated 25-year mark. A video of Walz, which Harris's presidential campaign shared on social media this week, showed him claiming that he carried weapons in war. So let's play this clip before. I'm sure y'all already seen it, but I'm gonna play it again. Here we go.
Hope woke up like many of you did 5 weeks ago and said, Dad, you're the only person I know who's in elected office. You need to stop what's happening with this. I'll take my kick in the butt for the NRA. I spent 25 years in the Army and I hunt. And I gave the money back. And
so he lied about the time. He said 25 years. He spent 24 years.
I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure.
And that's another point. He don't want reciprocal carry. So if I have a even though we don't need it in Texas, but let's say Texas, you needed a license to carry. If I had a license to carry in Texas, I wouldn't be able to carry in Minnesota because of reciprocity. He want to get rid of reciprocity, which makes no sense. If one state says you're able to have a gun, why can't you have it in another state? This is called the United States of America. But let me continue on here.
Sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
Carried in. He literally said he carried it in war. When did you carry this in war? And then you have
what's up?
You had Montel Williams on there, like I said earlier earlier today, talking about, well, you know, he carried it from the artillery to the training field, then you know that's war. I was like, no, that makes no sense, Montel. What are you talking about? Now they got Montel Williams caping for this guy, which is just crazy. But however, CNN's own Tom Foreman reported on Wednesday how there were, quote, no evidence that Walz was ever in a position of being shot at, as the governor had suggested. Amid the controversy over Walz's service record, Harris's campaign revised the biography about her running mate on Thursday, as Slate News reported earlier, whereas it was described, where it had described Walz as a retired command sergeant major. The description was changed to say that he once served as command sergeant major rank, because he never got the actual rank because he retired before he could finish the academy. I already gave you an example of that. But the first Green Beret to serve in Congress, Rep. Mike Walz, explained how Walz got promoted to sergeant major. Walz did not complete the Sergeant Major's Academy, like I alluded to earlier, and was demoted to Master Sergeant because he never went to the academy. During an appearance in Michigan on Wednesday, Vance slammed Walz over stolen Valor garbage. He also said, quote, I would be ashamed if I was him and I lied about my military service like he did. And me as a veteran can't stand it. I done seen people lie about military service and deservedly got their ass whooped for it, like in bars and stuff like that, for lying about your service, which is just despicable. I mean, again, if you lie about something like this, what else would this man lie about if he would ever get anywhere near the White House? But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.